Good morning, y'all, and welcome back. This is segment 12 of the story of my life, and my name is Eugene Jepson. As I mentioned before, there will likely be about 25 segments. So on with my story. A few months after losing our dad, my brother Mike and I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. And being new to the financial world, I bounced a couple of checks used to pay the gas and utilities deposits. Our mom and 2 little brothers came and visited us the day that the utility companies came to shut them off, and she decided that we needed her help. She felt like the house in Park Valley was just a shell without our dad, and she didn't like driving during the winter. Anyway, so she figured she might as well live in town where most of our family lived, and she could be surrounded by her children, grandchildren, and would be able to help those that needed it. In return for her help, I typed up my dad's life history, his daily handwritten journals, and his funeral. Some 500 pages of single-spaced typing later, we provided each of my siblings their own printed copy, and then later each adult grandchild with their own digital copy. The following spring, I saw how crowded it was in our tiny apartment, so I tried moving back into the dorms on campus. And instead of using a bed, I moved a couch to sleep on. But this caused more havoc than I thought it would. As I was walking around the couch, I tripped and I fell, hitting my head, and I knocked myself out. I was laying on the floor when my little brother, George Jared, came in and found me on the ground. He helped me up and onto the couch. He tried calling 911, but he couldn't get through because the phones on campus needed a 9 dial to get an outside line before getting a dial tone. After getting through, I was taken to the hospital where I found out that I had a concussion to the optic nerve, causing blindness in my right eye, and it's been that way ever since. Though you wouldn't realize it by the way I drive my wheelchair, I get compliments all the time on how well I drive it. People tell me that I drive it better than they do their own car. After being injured, I moved back into the basement apartment with my mom and brothers. The apartment wasn't wheelchair accessible, so I had to keep my wheelchair in the backyard. One day, while I was hurrying out the door to catch the bus, I was walking up the rear stairs when the handrail came loose and I hit my knee on the steps. I got up, walked to the wheelchair, and caught the bus. Then another day, I was walking around the side of the house and I fell backwards and I had to call 911 for getting help and back into the apartment because I was home alone. It wasn't long, but a short time later, I wasn't able to walk up and down stairs anymore. We had to find better accommodations. Luckily, though, my brother Melvin knew an elderly couple needing someone to house sit for them while they finished the last year of their mission. So they rented their fully furnished house to us for the same rent that we were paying for that 2-bedroom apartment. We moved in, and I was able to park my wheelchair in the garage, and I'd walk up a makeshift ramp into their house. This house was an awesome place to live, and I think had been the nicest house we had ever lived in. During our time there, I found a new hobby by accident. I'd been watching the television when I saw a commercial for computer parts that were on sale at a local hobby shop, and I went to check it out. What distracted me the most, though, were the remote control airplanes hanging from the ceiling, and there were shelves upon shelves of them everywhere you looked. I had always had a fascination with flight, and I figured that this would be the closest I would ever come to flying a real thing. I ended up buying my first plane and everything I needed to fly, strapped them onto my wheelchair, and took them to my helper's apartment. A couple weeks later, my mom came to the apartment to see what we were spending so much of our time working on. Since then, I have had several other planes and have spent a lot of time flying them. I joined the local club and have made a lot of friends with the same interests. After a lease on this house was up, I moved out again, where I lived on my own for the next 5 years or so. During this time, I attended a lot of classes, but I was never able to complete my degree because I ran out of money and funding to do so, and I couldn't afford going to college any further. This is where I'll end segment 12. Thank you for listening, reading, or watching. I hope that you've enjoyed my story so far. Have a wonderful day, keep smiling, and God bless.